Hey, this is a clip from a Watch Your Story they did. Check out that link for the full conversation.
Like the thing about me is when people say, "Oh, this is good," or "You like this," or everything, I'm always very skeptical because a lot of times I just don't find myself agreeing with a lot of things. Um, like when it comes to like shows, for instance, like I remember everybody was talking about Breaking Bad. Like this is a great show ever. And one thing I always tried not to do was go along with the crowd, go along or agree with the crowd or the mob or whatever, because I was always like I said, I was always bullied, the brunt of jokes or the brunt of being humiliated and all that. And I never wanted to be a part of that. I never wanted to be part of this, of a mob agreeing with people, and especially now. That's why when you have you people like the dog pile, on
Mhm.
social media, and especially people who consider themselves, self-righteous fans of a certain science fiction franchise I'm extremely fond of. I don't like people like that. I look at actions instead of words. Well, I look at words, but I also look at actions and how they behave and all that. And I never really wanted to be a part of that. So one thing I had learned is that I kind of had to back off from that idea because I finally watched Breaking Bad years later, because I had nothing to do. I binge watched. I wanted to watch some shows, and I
Mhm.
was wrong. I was like, you know what? Sometimes, maybe it's okay to listen to people. Maybe the majority sometimes are correct in their. Maybe I can agree with the majority. So
I haven't done a
that's
review on Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, so maybe we should talk about that in a minute. Because I with you, I never watched it. I didn't really have an aversion to watching it. It was always just hailed as being so great, and then I think it was, and it was we're one of the dips we've had in the last couple of years where it just seemed like everything sucked,
yeah,
and maybe it was also where some of the stuff, the volume of stuff had kind of been lessened because of the strike and the pandemic and stuff like that as well. So I binged it all, and I came away with too with like I really did enjoy Breaking Bad for the most part.
hmm
I will say I think I won't say they took steps back, but I didn't enjoy it as much when the character when Walter was enjoying it as much. Like when he was really embraced it, I enjoyed it more when it was like he was trying to get away from it. Like he was still trying to lead an honest life or steal away his portion and be done, whatever. Once it become like enjoying being drug. Now I will say they redeemed itself at the end where he starts to admit, I do like being a drug lord. Like I actually get off on this. Like he admits that he's
yeah,
evolved into that character.
yes,
And I kind of feel like it was sort of that Godfather journey feeling. Like, it's like I don't want to be a part of this. I have to be part of this. Now I am part of this. I kind of like doing this. It was kind of it was
kind of like.
rewarding. I really enjoyed it.
It's funny because instead that was the one thing that they didn't. They actually showed Scarface. They showed him. He's watching Scarface
Mhm.
with his son. They're like, "Oh, wait for it. Say hello to my little friend and everything." So I kind of was thinking maybe it's more of a Scarface type of thing. But then again, Tony Montana was always a criminal,
Mhm.
whereas Michael Corleone, started off as a
Yeah,
good man
legit.
who didn't want to be part of that type of life, and then he gets kind of pulled in as I guess you could say as a foil to the whole chosen one. Instead of being the chosen hero, he's the chosen chosen villain, I guess you could say. I don't know.
I don't
Um,
think that show gets credit because it does something like Indiana Jones reframed the concept of like the fallible hero, right? This journey, this hero type story arc that kind of really changed with Raiders. And I think when you have now made a term break bad, like a legit term in our lexicon, that's
yeah,
something special that we don't give credit for. Because people will just make that conversation waiting for so and so to break bad, or they did break bad, or like, oh, it's like
yeah,
the legit smart person or whatever, and they just like, oh, yeah, they'll do crime, they'll just do it for the cash. I'm like, oh, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I thought that was I actually really enjoyed that. I really liked that dynamic between Bryan Cranston. I like Bryan Cranston, stellar acting. Same with Aaron Paul. And then of course adding characters like Bob Odenkirk's Saul Goodman and Jonathan Banks as Mike Ehrmantraut. I thought, and of course Giancarlo
Giancarlo Esposito,
Esposito's extremely scary Gus Fring.
menacing. Hmm.
I thought was especially season 4 was like, to me, was the season 3 and 4 were
Hmm.
the pinnacle of Breaking Bad. Season 5, I liked how season 5 focused more on Walter. Basically he peaks in the middle of season, in the very middle of season 5, but then it all comes crumbling down when his brother-in-law, and this is something I'm sure fans have been waiting for since the very beginning, was his brother-in-law finding out
Figuring out
that he is Heisenberg and all that. And I like how, like, especially how he's on the toilet. He's on the toilet at their house, and he finds out by reading goes back to reading the book, the book that he got from that one cook,
the meth lab cook. Yeah, gave it to him as a gift. It was like
the
one little detail
WW.
he didn't think of, purging out of the house, right? So he just wanted some random detail he never thought of the book would be like led back to him like that. Oh, it's brilliant.
You got me.
Mm-hmm.
WW. Is that Walt Whitman? Walter White? You got me.
Uh-huh.
And what's funny, I thought that was brilliant. And then they go back to it. He figures it out. I thought it was just, and then the rest of the series was just ridiculous after that. So, and yeah, the Ozymandias episode, the episode with, where certain characters die and things change, things totally change, and there's no going back, was, believe it or not, Ryan Johnson directed episode. He directed that one. He directed the episode with The Fly. So people were excited for The Last Jedi. I was talking a little bit about this with Price yesterday. People were, I was actually kind of excited for Last Jedi. Because of the fact that Ryan Johnson did those episodes of Breaking Bad. But then The Last Jedi comes out. He not only directed it, but he wrote it as well. And he wrote it in just a way that just alienated everybody, unless you were somehow a self-assumed auteur of bad cinema or something. You think you're this artiste, you think you're taking art to the next level, but you're actually just making it worse. You're making the product that it comes from, or the brand that it comes from, less valuable because of that, or because of your self-perceived auteur vision or something, which is not auteur. He just thinks he's auteur.
Hey, thanks for watching. That was a clip from a Watch Your Story conversation. So check out that description for the link to the full thing or one of the playlist. Thanks for watching.